Plastics are everywhere within our environments, our kind of day-to-day lives.
Whether it's paint, whether it's packaging, whether it's the clothes that we wear, there's probably not a single product that's made without some form of synthetic polymer.
The possibilities of plastics are really endless. The real issue is the management of those plastics when it comes to the end of their lives. We kind of see ourselves as a catalyst to enable the change for designers to make more sustainable material choices. Plastics have developed a really bad reputation. But it's more because of where the plastics end up, you know, in places where they really shouldn't, causing huge destruction. Plastics in itself, really useful resource, a precious resource that we should hold on to. Smart Plastics is a design and manufacturing house, taking recycled plastics and transforming them into large-scale decorative panels and products for interior designers and architects around the world.
Rosalie and I established what you can see around us today as a business in 2014.
What do you think? We were really struck that there just wasn't enough sustainable materials out there for designers to choose. So I've just made this up.
We're sort of material driven. We use the aesthetic of the waste to produce the product.
Adam spends a huge amount of time sort of sourcing different raw materials to make up the different ingredients for our specific recipes. It tends to be cosmetic pots that we recycle, medical packaging. We've got a whole product that is from recycled yogurt pots.
And we convert that into various sort of chip sizes. We use heat and pressure then to sinter the material into these beautiful decorative panels. This is a material blend that we produce. It's for a product we make called Tutti. It's white, high-impact polystyrene from food and medical packaging mixed with hard, rigid plastic toys. We're mostly making it for one customer and we're producing stool tops for them.
I'll just put it down here and then...
If you compare us to normal plastics recycling, because we're using the plastic as a waste before it's been homogenised into something that can then go into manufacturing, we're removing quite a lot of energy use in that. The manufacturing process that we've developed actually uses about 40% less energy than other moulding processes for plastics. So in that sense, we're quite low energy. Certainly in comparison with ceramic tiles that might get used in the bathroom, the environmental footprint is much lower. We use renewable energy to manufacture our products, so they're essentially carbon neutral.
Because we're not taking our plastics to really super high temperatures, you know, the plastics aren't getting denatured in the process of production, which does mean that in theory we can recycle them infinitely. My background is totally different to Adam's. I actually studied psychology. I never practiced as a psychologist. My real passion has always been making in some form. I ended up quitting everything that I was doing and just focusing on making jewellery for several years. Adam and I were together at that time and I was pairing gold and silver, materials that are perceived to be very precious with waste materials. But there's only so much that you can do as an independent designer maker, and what I really wanted to do is make a bigger impact in some way.
This program down. I've always been a product designer and I've always worked on self-driven projects focusing on ways that you can use the language of materials to get people to think differently about the way that they can use a product. Probably one of the most exciting projects was to build a coffee shop made out of coffee waste for Google, with surfaces and products, coffee machines made out of coffee waste. This physical built experience enabled the Google staff to see what was possible with resources.
We're making decorative surfaces, and so I suppose comparable materials for those sorts of applications are probably granite, marble. These are natural resources, finite. The kind of recyclability of them is questionable.
We quite often see our materials with more of a detail type aspect, sort of more intentional, smaller areas within a bigger experience.
I would say the most common application for our products is probably tabletops. We're making hard, dense, rigid panels. Our materials get used a lot within a retail environment. Plinths and shop displays, they might only be, around for a year or two, and then they sort of get recycled into something else.
We love inspiring you with our YouTube videos. So here's a special bundle from our store to inspire you even more. It includes our new essential guide to your living room, a digital guide packed with expert tips and tricks to help you transform your living room into the perfect space, and our first hardcover book featuring 30 of our favorite small footprint homes, filled with detailed floor plans and gorgeous photography. The bundle is available worldwide from our store just for you. You're welcome.
Find lots of baubles. Do you remember what they were talking about?
We've been quite lucky to work with department stores like Selfridges a few times on a couple of Christmas projects.
We've done
Christmas
some
is
pretty cool
one
stuff.
of the most wasteful times of year. People buying decorations, buying presents, buying additional packaging.
A couple of years ago, we worked on recycling all of their old Christmas tinsel into surfaces for the following year for their Christmas displays. And this year, we'll be taking some of their baubles and reimagining them into very playful sort of terrazzo effect materials for this year's Christmas displays there. I suppose we didn't expect to sell a huge amount when we first launched. We launched at London Design Festival in 2015, just thinking that we would test the idea, as it were. We were completely overwhelmed by the amount of interest and demand for our materials. Designers are wanting to transition towards using sustainable materials in, the products that they create.
The built environment isn't that dissimilar from choosing a really nice deli sandwich instead of going to Burger King and getting a burger. We're one of the small little choices that people are looking for now. They want to engage in a different way with every single product that they purchase.
We're lucky enough to work with really fantastic, innovative designers, makers, and they end up, using our material in really exciting ways. Silo is a zero-waste restaurant in Hackney in London. The founder, Douglas McMaster, he's been so passionate about eliminating waste in food for many, many years.
Everything we brought into the building was thoroughly considered for its provenance, its durability, and its recyclability or biodegradability. We grew furniture from mycelium. We formed lamps from seaweed. And we used a lot of recycled Smile plastic.
We were called in quite early stages to collaborate on creating some bar tops and also tabletops for their restaurant environment, and also create some chopping boards as well.
Smile's a perfect material for Silo because of its cyclical nature. It's made from waste food packaging. It has a look and feel of materials considered to be luxury, like natural stone or resin, but it doesn't try to emulate those things. It's just itself. Upcycling materials can be beautiful and premium. You just have to give it the time and the thought.
It's got a beige tone, whereas this is I'd say has got a colder. One of the most underutilised applications for our materials is within a sort of bathroom, wet room environment. You know, the material, it's a plastic, it's waterproof, it's, you know, mould resistant, kind of perfect for that kind of application. Orford Mews is a set of residential homes in Walthamstow in northeast London. Every single part of the building has been considered for sustainability and ease of deconstruction and recyclability. So there was no waste whatsoever in building the houses, which is extraordinary. Our materials have been used within the bathroom environments and splashbacks as well. And it was the Alba product that was used, made from recycled yoghurt pots.
You know, a commercial property developer can see the economic value of using materials like ours when you compare it to the amount of work that gets put into bonding ceramic tiles onto a wall, all the grousing and all of the cleaning up, all of the special cutting equipment, in comparison with a sheet of 100% recycled plastic that can get screwed on its own in a bathroom. It means that these things can be put up quite quickly and effectively, so it saves a lot of cost, and it also enables it to be deconstructed and recycled easily.
There's a hell of a lot of waste in the UK. I think only a third of all of the plastics that get consumed are actually recycled, and I think that that's a real problem in itself. We're just not dealing with our own waste. You know, a lot of the waste in the UK is just shipped out.
We've seen in the last 15 years the impact that designers have had creating opportunities for people to engage with recycling in a slightly different way. Smile Plastics is an example of that, a very small, mini little detail, but it's a design solution that's created some consumer interest, which has additionally helped to steer industry a little bit, to then also make decisions to push.
I suppose the vision for us as a business, you know, we've got one microfactory here in Swansea in South Wales. There's only so much that we can do with one microfactory in terms of kind of global impact. We're ending up exporting quite a bit around the world. There is a carbon footprint associated with that. In an ideal world, we will have, you know, lots of microfactories around the world that are taking local plastics waste and transforming it into panels and products for the local markets. You know, perhaps every single big city around the world can have its own Smile Plastics microfactory, reimagining that waste. I think it's important to note how valuable plastics really are. Will it all run out? I mean, oil is a finite resource, and ultimately plastics do come from oil, so, you know, potentially virgin plastics could run out in the future. It's a very interesting idea, you know, mining landfill for all of this stuff that we've kind of discarded. I love this idea, and we need this idea of having a kind of zero waste world in which everything is reimagined into something new.
I think the more people think about the whole sequence of events that goes into the life of whatever it might be, whether it's a piece of single-life packaging or whether it's a car component, we need to see more end-to-end thinking and responsibility by the locality from where these things are used.